I think I know that it seemed like you were about to say that it was a
Yeah.
positive. The story had a little bit more to it,
Yeah.
but I think that since the story to me wasn't quite as engaging, the main storyline, because again, I'm not a fan of the party system and
Yeah.
the dungeons and that kind of those kind of
So
shows.
okay, yeah. Go
I'm
ahead.
not really interested in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the story to me wasn't super engaged. There were some parts about it that were cool,
Yeah.
but I wasn't really. I was super interested in like, oh well, the point is we're trying to save my sister, and that's the point, and kill
Yeah.
the dragon, kill the mage. When I was like more interested in the cooking part,
Oh, okay.
So like, I was thinking, not to say that it would have been better or worse, I don't know, but I thought there was gonna be more of a focus on the cooking side if it's
Hmm.
about if the show's about food.
Yeah.
But the show's not really quite about food. It's more of a complementary part of the main storyline. It seems
Mhm.
like they kind of are eating, like they're using the monsters to sustain themselves to continue the journey,
Yeah.
which is cool. That's fine. But I think for me, I was kind of bored with the main story and more interested in the food parts.
Right on. I
I
hear you.
think because I was hoping for like a different type of anime.
Yeah.
That was kind of like more fresh. And it started out that way. I was like, oh, the first episode they're killing the scorpion and they're eating like a crab. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Mhm.
And the Senshi, she was on the cooking and everything. I was like,
Yeah.
this is interesting. And then it doesn't really progress much further than, well, we'll kill this monster, then we'll cook them. Kill this monster,
Yeah.
and then cook it. And then they're kind of, but then also keep doing the story. So
Yeah.
I think for that reason, I was kind of, I wouldn't say it was a chore to watch the show,
Hmm.
but at some points I was just kind of like watching it because we had to watch it to
Yeah.
cover the show,
Yeah, it was. I mean, just because there are 24 episodes in this, it got to be a bit of a chore to watch it.
Yeah.
For me, I was really trying to like just cram all it,
Just muscle through
in.
it.
Yeah, just muscle through it.
Yeah.
I think I might have looked at it a little bit differently. Like if you're saying like for me, the show was mostly about the food preparation. That's
Okay.
what it was mostly
Yeah.
about. Like, could they have done more with it? Like, maybe explore it more. But yeah, because everything turned into, we're gonna kill this, and this is how we're gonna cook it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It got very, I don't want to say necessarily stale, but yeah, they kept kind of doing that same thing over and
for
over
over 24
again.
episodes, it's kind of, it's the same. If it doesn't
Yeah.
progress, like for my like for Food Wars, I've seen like 3 or 4 episodes.
Okay,
Like it's about cooking and going to a cooking school and trying to be a better
so it's
chef.
all about
So
the cooking.
It's about cooking. Like,
Yeah.
and for it to be like, it's called Food Wars. It's about that.
Yeah.
For Delicious in Dungeon, well, I guess it's about food in a dungeon. I guess
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for me, and I think you're kind of about to say it too, but for me, it was about the food, and everything else was a filler, or so to speak, or everything else was just to support the premise of, we're gonna show you a show about cooking demons and eating weird things.
Mhm.
Everything else was supporting that. Everything else was basically that spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down.
okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
So you're saying that you think the food was more the focus than the actual main story?
exactly. Yeah. I think
Okay.
I honestly think for me,
Mhm.
the main story was there just so they can tell the story of them doing the food thing.
Okay, for
You know
now,
what I mean?
like to have some kind of focus.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes they have to dip into like that side story a little bit more. I
Mhm.
mean, because they are trying to save Homeboy's sister.
Yeah.
So I get that they're going to swing into that a little bit more. And I think with the first part of the show, before they get her back, spoilers, before they get her back, it felt like a lot of it was just these, hey, I'm happy to be here at the time. How am I going to eat this, or how am I going to do that?
Yeah.
And one of my favorites, one of my likes, was when they ate the jewelry.
Oh,
That was pretty, the bugs.
That
yeah.
was great. Man.
That was pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah.
because it's pretty.
It was
funny.
really weird, but it was great how it turned out.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to try that.
Yeah, I want to try
then
that.
then the ghosts that turned the thing into sorbet, and I was like,
Yeah,
I want some of that.
That's genius.
That looked great.
right.
Yeah, that was great.
And
That was genius.
it
yeah.
made sense because
Yeah.
they're swinging the
Swinging
the holy water around.
in the cold, because
Yeah,
ghosts are
and
cold apparently.
right. Of
So,
course,
yeah.
it's gonna go right through them, so it's gonna get cold, and they end up making sorbet.
Yeah, I accidentally mixed it, yeah.
and when he was making the holy water, and I don't know if I'm gonna call this the negative,
Yeah.
but it was like, wait a minute. When he's making holy water,
Oh, yeah,
okay,
he's-
there's nothing holy about you. So making holy water, you shouldn't be able to do that,
Yeah.
especially within the confines, or I don't know, in that world, maybe it's possible. But
Yeah.
when he started throwing in the ingredients, like, okay, I get the ingredients, but when he threw in the sugar, I was like, why are you throwing sugar in the holy water? That doesn't even make sense. But it was the setup for the
for the
sorbet,
sorbet,
episode. Yeah.
It's more of a just in case I gotta eat this.
Let me make sure it's
at least
sweet
it's
as
sweet a
well.
little bit, yeah.
Like that's doesn't make any kind of sense. Like the salt in it, I get it. Salt's a purifying agent. I get it. All the other stuff he's putting in,
like for I guess like the superstitions from other cultures. They just try and put it all into one.
Yeah,
which just kind of made me think of like the Mummy when like you remember when Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah.
And there's his buddy Benny. He has like all the necnecklaces of every different.
Oh yeah,
faith.
that was awesome.
He's
That was a
just
great
pulling
scene.
it
He's
out,
like, "Let me try this.
doing
No,
all the different chants.
Let me try this. No." And then he pulls out the Jewish star or whatever, and he's like the language of the slaves. I was like, "Oh dang,
Yeah, that's what saved you.
this guy deep right now. They're bringing the Bible into this."
Right? Yeah. God,
That was pretty solid.
that was pretty great. Yeah, but Benny's like, he's like, I'm gonna choose which side protects me.
Yeah. that was actually. He's like, no, okay, okay. No.
That's like a great. I love that scene. Yeah.
And Rachel Weisz was in it, so that was
in her prime too, man. She still looks great, but
she
man.
still
In
looks
her prime, yeah. Whew.
Man,
What
that
a
was
looker.
Yeah, that movie was great. Having her in it made that movie great.
Great turn.
It was a good movie.
Yeah,
it was a good
fun
movie. Very good
It's a fun
movie.
Yeah. But yeah, Rachel Weisz. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
She's
a bit of all right. A bit of all right.
She is. Thanks, man. I forgot my catchphrase.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. I got you.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So other negatives. I think the other thing too, and we started talking about, or I started talking about it, is the fact that nobody like could not really die.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if somebody died, there was a way to still bring them back. The fact that nobody could die, it made the stakes and the consequences kind of go out the window a little bit. It wasn't as dangerous as it was, or as it would have been if they hadn't done that kind of thing. You know?
Right? Yeah.
I mean, they're able to get some great gags out of it. You know, like when that other party they kept dying.
Yeah.
You know, that was hilarious. You know, but overall though, I feel like it takes away from the stakes.
Yeah, it's not quite as dangerous.
It's not quite as dangerous.
Come back to life.
As long as somebody finds you.
Yeah. Then you're okay. Yeah. That was kind of because I realized that after that when Fallon killed all the Churros people.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, this is getting serious.
Right.
And then they bring them all back, and I was like,
they're all back. Yeah.
I just realized that they've been doing that this whole time.
Yeah. And then when he said too, like whatever the main guy, Laios. Yeah. When he said like that was the first time I died in a dungeon, that was like one of those things that like my ear kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
The first time you died, I was like, okay, what's going on here?
Right. Yeah.
You know, so that's when I started to get a little suspicious, a little wary.
Yeah.
You know, and then they turned around and said, yeah, it's
in dungeons you can't die. Apparently
you can't die.
Yeah.
But I mean, they do set up a reason why.
Yeah.
And the reason is interesting.
Which is because if it was like the whole world, you can just always come out of life, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, there's definitely no consequences. Just do
Right.
whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. You're just being
Yeah, but within the confines of the dungeon, I think it made it a little bit better. But within the, you don't feel like anyone's really in danger. Everyone come back to life.
Yeah.
But I did like though they did the like she had to use some black magic to bring back Fallon, and ended up kind of backfiring a little bit.
But
we're not quite 100% sure why. I think.
Yeah.
But there's some hints about maybe why it would happen.
Right.
But that was kind of cool that if you're that dead.
Yeah.
Then you can't come back, and if you do, it causes some trouble. Or it's like taboo.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, they couldn't bring her back in the conventional ways they're bringing people back in that world because she was too far gone, and and they were too deep into a dungeon. Like if they would have had to have taken her someplace to get her, resurrected or whatever.
Yeah,
and they didn't have an option to do that. You know what I mean? Because she was so far, her spirit was, as far as they knew, was so far gone.
Yeah.
They had to do it right there at that point in time, and she, did what she had to do, which, I was okay with. Like some people, like when the samurai guy shows up later, and it's like, well, dude, you didn't even try to help. You know what I mean? You went, you took off.
He's being all judgy right now.
Exactly.
Being all judge, no help. So,
all judge, no help.
Yeah. But that was definitely interesting, and I forgot what I was gonna say after that, but yeah.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, I think that might have been the biggest think for me. What other negatives did I have? I mean, the show. I mean, you kind of look at the show for what it is.
Yeah.
You know, again, like I said, when you set up the whole premise of they're just going in there to eat monsters.
Yeah.
Then that's what the show was about. So you don't. For me, I try not to look for anything
Much
deeper than that.
Past
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah, which is fair, and I think I don't know. I don't want to say the show was bland or anything. Like there were a lot of moments that I did enjoy about it.
Yeah.
And I think I may have watched it eventually anyway at some point.
Yeah. Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that there were a lot of good parts about it, and I enjoyed a lot of things about it. But it kind of like once it's like that same thing I was saying about isekais, where it's like, oh, the hook is that that Irie was reincarnated as a vending machine.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it's like after that, there's nothing much else. Like that's they grab you with the intention. They grab you with that.
Right.
The attention grabber.
And there's no story after that.
Yeah, there's nothing else much after that. It's just like a freaking vending machine.
Because a lot of some of those episodes did feel, I don't want to call them filler, but some of those episodes just felt like they're just there to find something and eat it, and
and some were better than others. Obviously, we talked about those ones that were better than others, but it just kind of felt like, oh, here's the hook. We're eating monsters in the dungeon, and then for 24 episodes, like, oh, we're gonna eat this monster and cook it this way. You're gonna eat that monster, cook it this way. Eat that monster, cook it this way. And it was just kind of like, all right, well, what else are you guys gonna do? Like, is there what's gonna make this continue to hold my attention?
Yes.
And there wasn't a lot. I mean, I think the later episodes were funnier and had a little more meat to it, and there's more stuff that I was engaged by towards the second half of the show. But yeah, I think it's probably 8 or 9 episodes where I was just like, all right, what's next?